Eoin here, lead educator for 101.
Wait a second. Mate, I thought I was.
What do you mean? I've got more followers.
Your name comes first on the hat.
I've been doing hair way longer than
I'm
you have.
first in the alphabet. So like...
Yeah, but his name's first on the hat.
yeah, but that was just...
Come on, lead. Leading Leigh is in the name.
But I've got more Instagram followers. So... that was just something we... that was something we were joking about yesterday at the show, because like a lot of the guys will go on stage and it's like, I'm the lead educator for this brand. And it's like... we were just joking.
We'd be like, who's the lead educator out of us?
In shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We're the same.
And then we'd be trying to like battle it out between, yeah, but I've been doing it longer.
Who's the lead
yeah, but I've
educator?
got the followers. Yeah, but I've got awards. Yeah, but.
I'm the lead hair model
You are.
You can have
at the
that
Great
one.
British Bust.
Yes. So guys, we have a guest on our podcast today, Unlimited.
Official hair model.
You're actually the official first guest on the podcast who isn't in the hair industry.
Oh, okay. I made it. It's an honor, guys. Thank you. I'm glad that like I've become so, renowned that I'm just dipping into other industries now. So I always wanted to kickstart my hair model career, and yeah, it's good.
No, it's awesome.
Thanks for making it happen.
No,
You
worries.
put me here, you guys.
No, I think it's awesome to bring people onto the podcast who provide so much value for us outside of just giving someone a haircut. Like every time we've had a conversation, it's been a good conversation. Even though you're in a different lane and doing a different thing, we see the world in similar ways, and there's parallels that are, that work. It works across industries.
Well,
So
do you want me to explain what I do?
yes, that would be great.
No one would know.
Yeah, this is Aaron, everybody. Force Music.
Okay.
And maybe explain what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. My name is Aaron Leigh. I am a music artist from Australia and also a music production business owner. I just moved to London a few weeks ago. I knew these guys from Australia, even though they're both from the UK. But now we're all here in London, and they happen to be right around the corner at the Great British Barber Bash yesterday, and they needed a hair model.
Yeah. So you started your career yesterday.
Started my career, yeah.
You can add that to your Instagram bio now as well. Yeah. Hair model.
Philanthropist, entrepreneur, boss babe, hair model,
Hashtag hustle.
influencer,
No, add a slut to mine.
for brand, hair slut.
Yeah, I'll add that to mine.
Hair slut with the hair clap.
Hair clap. I love it.
So yeah, you do quite a lot of things.
Is that like dandruff? Like he's got the hair clap. It's like,
Pretty much.
or lice.
Yeah. Lice.
Lice is like hair gonorrhea.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is great having an outsider's point of view. Like, this is brilliant.
I'm here to just ruin your podcast.
Great. If someone else doesn't, we will.
Yeah. We've already recorded that episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We've already
The one that
recorded.
gets
Have
us,
you?
gets
Do I
us
have to up
cancelled.
it?
Yeah, we've recorded
How
episodes.
can you get cancelled from barbering? Do you like cut an ear off or something?
No, I don't even think that'd get you cancelled. I think that people would want to watch that. But like, yeah.
Think about it all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so you guys are here doing world tour.
First stop.
As are you, in a way.
Oh, well, but you guys are actually, you got cities, you got dates. I haven't started tour yet, but you guys are on world tour,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Hair rock stars,
Oh, well, look.
It's been said.
hair sluts worldwide.
Yeah.
It's the day job now, isn't it, Lee?
Yeah.
Leigh and Eoin do London,
Yes.
hair sluts.
Yeah. No, it was cool. And
too late.
a big part of actually doing the tour is catching up with interesting people who can bring value and a different perspective to what we do. And, we love doing the podcast in person with people.
Yeah.
Because it's just more of a conversation. Yeah, it's more of a conversation. We can have a chat, share some value, share some insights, crossover worlds. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. All to come back to that place of unlimited.
There we go. Unlimited what?
If you think about unlimited, if you look at the word and how it's broken up, it's not like unlimited in terms of like quantity. It's like unlimited, like without limits.
Without
limits.
I heard a good one yesterday on somebody's YouTube, and it was if you get distracted, like a distraction, like it could be a habit, a vice, like something that distracts you from your work and your build, you're getting distraction, like tractions when you're on track, like you're moving. It literally takes you off track, like it's disabled traction. Same thing. I thought it was cool because it was like just a different way to frame it, because we think of distraction by the definition of like, I'm distracted, I'm looking over there, but it's like, well, you're actually going off track now. Like, and if you think about it like wholly like that, it makes you frame a small distraction differently, because you're like, this little thing could take me off my whole path of what I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the opposite, you know?
And that's what we love as well.
Love hyphens here.
Yeah. But
Leigh Eoin.
we tried to, that was the same thing we tried to do. We love to like play with the words, like the word magic of everything. And that was it. We looked at the word unlimited and we're like, that's really cool. But we also understand that nothing is just completely unlimited. Like there are limits to certain things, but then breaking the word up, we talk a lot about releasing people's limiting beliefs, and that was the idea. It was like trying to put a different spin on the word, like unlimit you so that you can realize possibilities and potential, because the limits that are placed on people or just inherited, that alone will just stop people from even believing there's anything else.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea of the word in the way that we say it. Yeah.
You guys are so fucking deep for barbers.
Yeah.
Great.
We're just barbers.
No, but it's good because yesterday when you spoke at the convention, what do you call it, convention expo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's...
My first time. Look, I was like, I've been to other expos like music industry and other industries, but a barber expo was just like, this is a whole scene in itself, and people were hype beasts everywhere, and like I haven't seen that many fades in a building before. It was stupid.
There's a lot of fades.
There's a lot of fades.
There's a lot of skin on heads.
I saw a lot of head skin yesterday.
But when you guys spoke, because I was there being quite still in hair modeling, so I just listened. It was great how deep you went into the meaning in a binary business sense, but also in the purpose of, as a human, what you're providing, what you're doing as a service provider in your industry, that you guys just seemed to go, you had so much like conviction behind it. And you know, you do these things, you love hyphens because you have conviction about words and the meaning of it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. There's definitely a depth to it.
Yeah, no, it was cool, and that's probably why we get along. And every time we catch up, it's like really deep chats, because as a creative and as a business owner, it's just so, it's part of it. It is what it's the essence of creativity. And I've seen you guys from afar do that, building the brand, educating that. It's like, and you see the biggest brands in the world in every field. It's all authenticity, and it's all like something deeper than just surface level, here's a product, here's a service, buy it, sell, buy it. Like, you guys have gone deeper with the intent. Like, even just going on and talking about unlimited, it's like you care about the purpose of each thing. And for me to see that in the context of cutting hair, to me as like a normie person who would just go and get his hair cut, I was like, this is so interesting. Like it crosses, and it makes me feel like when I am at like a conference for music or for the dance industry or the dance industry, because we're in the UK, which is like what my company does. We do music for dancers, and I feel like approaching dancers. I feel like approaching my business the same way, because it's like, well, I'm not just here to provide music for this industry. It's like I'm here to give people inspiration and give them, like, heighten their purpose and heighten their innovation and heighten their product as a business-to-business provider. And you guys are a business-to-business provider with the education platform. And we were talking before about like, but how do you reach general consumers? So say a customer to a barbershop, how do you reach them with this same level of conviction. And I thought about it, and I said, well, the reason I found you guys and like started coming to you on for hair through one of our mutual friends, shout out Sean, photography, best in the biz, video and photo,
The best.
Melbourne legend. It's because of our connection as well. And then you introduced me to another legend in Brisbane, Nathan Yip, who does my hair when I'm living in Brisbane. And same with him. Like, it was all of these people, and I'm just talking hair in my life. All of these people are just like, to me, it's like authentic connection, and we align and we have the same vision for whatever we're doing. So for me, it was just radical to see that in an industry I know nothing about. So yeah, just basically a long-winded way of saying like, great work. Yeah. And it works because you're connecting to the human, not just the human's consumer need.
Yeah, totally. And I think it no, for sure. I think
it's awesome. I love it.
It helps you to see it differently as well. The first time we met was at one of our workshops in Sydney.
Yes.
In Susie, who was one of our clients and is a great friend of ours, in her old shop. Remember that?
Oh, that's what I was thinking about earlier. It was either last night or this morning. I was thinking, when did I first see Aaron? Because I knew I'd met you before, but I haven't met you a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know I've seen you somewhere other than social media. And yeah, it was that class. Yeah, it was in Sydney.
So I remember that class.
That was ages ago.
I did a nice graduated haircut on you, but it was with the razor.
Graduated haircut.
It was all razor work, the whole thing.
And that's what you did yesterday, all razor yesterday. Yeah, that was cool.
It makes a lot of sense for you.
I remember at the time.
Tell me why it makes, like, explain to me, after, I'd love to be explained to me as a non-hair industry person why razor cut works for my hair.
Okay, cool.
But please continue first.
I just remember how engaged we were in the whole experience that time.
Yeah.
Like, you were almost more involved in asking more questions than the people who were in the class. Because you were just intrigued.
I want to learn, but also, like, your hair, for most people, is the item of your apparel that you cannot take off, that you wear every day. I care about it. Like, I want it to be decent, you know? So, and being new, and I knew you were educating, I was like, oh, this is my opportunity to understand a bit more about my hair, because the amount of times in the past where I've gone into a barber or a hairdresser and I'm like, I know what I want, but I don't know how to explain it. I don't, like, as well, maybe I have a prerequisite in my head of myself because I grew up in Australia, which is very white, but I'm half Chinese, and I have like Asian hair, like it's partially Asian, and it grows very straight, very thick, and I just have found years ago that not a lot of Aussie barbers can get it right, like the way it sits and falls. So I've always been on the lookout for the right person to do my hair. That's why I was like, while you're here, and Sean gave you a big rap, so I was like, okay, this guy's like the boss. So I'm like, let's learn, like, how to, like, tell me, because I'm gonna have to go to somebody else and explain it.
Yeah. No, cool. Leigh, you can explain to Aaron. I don't know much about hair anymore.
Yeah.
No,
so the biggest reason
with this stuff. So.
the big, like, in simple, like, consumer terms, the biggest reason why I would choose a razor over a scissor is because through the questions that I was asking you, you very quickly helped me to understand that you're like, Asian hair, it can be very straight. Once it gets to a certain length, it can poke out. Yeah. I was like, great, okay. With a scissor, that will give you very straight, blunt edges.
Okay.
Which is already what you said you are worried about is gonna happen.
Yes.
If it goes too short.
So interesting.
Immediately, that says to me, if I cut it with straight, blunt lines, that might exacerbate the issue. Then if it does, what am I going to do then? And then there's all this like remedial stuff that's got to go on. Whereas what you can do is just change the tool and use a razor, which I can do two things at once. There's a lot of feel in it. It's a more organic way to cut hair. There's a lot of feel.
Interesting.
So, and there's a lot
You're getting feedback.
Yeah, and there's a lot of control within each section. So with your hair, it might spike more on the back than it does on the front, or it might it dips more at the bottom. So what
It's like using a pencil, not a
exactly,
paintbrush.
I can adjust my technique and do two things at once. I can bring the length in, but I can also keep the edges soft, both at the same time. Whereas a scissor, it on your hair, it would create a lot of work for me. Whereas a razor, again, like I was explaining to you yesterday, all I wanted to do was, it was an adjustment, and I wanted to do the adjustment in the most efficient way possible. And it just made sense. I was like, nope, this is a tool of choice, and it works.
Wow. Okay, I learned something amazing today.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I love to like draw parallels to industries. Like, I'm sure there'd be something in your world where people would take the long way around, and you're like, why don't you just do it like this, you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's plenty in like music production alone. Like, there's so many tools and so many things, and everyone could argue endlessly about what's better, but it's context. And what you said, like, maybe a razor won't be right for someone else's hair, but it was for mine to get the desired outcome.
Exactly. And that's it. And the next person could have your hair. They'll bring a picture of you and go, I want Aaron's hair.
This
I love
motherfucker is so handsome. I want his hair.
This hair model.
This hair
I
I heard this was the world's greatest hair model.
Yeah. I want his hair, but I might have to a completely different approach. So that's why context is so important.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
You can see it today, right? Like, you can see it in the haircut today. It's sitting and functioning well without much effort. You just wash it this morning.
Yep.
And that's
I
it.
just put sea salt spray in
Great.
and let it fall.
I see the way the edges are nice and like fluffy.
yeah.
They're not like straight lines, because with the scissor what you could get is like blunt. You could
It'd be
see
very
blunt lines in it.
Yeah.
Oh, and that would make it curl out more, poke out more.
It just wouldn't.
Yeah, it just wouldn't look. It'd look chunky. So then what I'd have to do is go back in and add the softness, which again, that's what I mean. It creates work for me. So
Hair is so interesting to like, because we don't think about it.
no, well, I look at it as it's a textile, really. Like, it's a material.
Yes.
That's how I think about hair. It's just a manipulative material. You can manipulate it with heat, with tools, with all sorts of things, with products. I can change. So yesterday, what I did to your hair, I actually manipulated the material of your hair, because naturally it's like this, a bit softer. Yesterday, I wanted it to look a bit heavier, a bit more shiny, a bit more grungy. So that means your hair is not naturally like that.
Okay.
So I have to go in and manipulate the material and use my, index of things to go, well, what am I going to put on Aaron's hair to make it do this today?
I was calling you hair sluts, but I think you're hair artists. Hair connoisseurs.
Well,
really.
this is the art. This is the art side of hair. That is the art side of hair, is looking at it like a material, like a canvas. Okay, so what can I do with it now? I'll go to my index of choices. It's like you with your
making
editing
music,
process.
Yeah.
It's like, right, I've got a bank of presets or effects,
Sounds,
sounds,
yeah.
compression, this.
Yeah.
So how am I going to lay them in? Because that makes a difference too.
Yes.
So it's the same with hair. It's the same thing, and that's why I love yesterday, something that I wanted to bring up a minute ago. Like, I love it felt very safe to go deep on these topics early with you, and isn't it interesting? Like, the depth we went to yesterday was ridiculous just off the bat. Like, hardly ever talking to you before.
I want to know.
And the same today when we met. It was like we met for coffee. It's like, hey, yeah, g'day, how you feeling? Yeah, boom. And we're just like back in the.
I mean, look, honestly, I don't know how to connect with people any other way, because that's the kind of people that are in my life. Like, I'm not good at the surface level stuff. Well, not good at it. Like, just
Just what's the
it's
point?
not how I want to connect. Like, I think it's a personality.
What's
type.
the point of it?
Yeah, we could have all the same. Interesting thing. Everyone who knows me knows I'm obsessed with this personality profile thing called the Enneagram.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
What number are you?
What are you?
I'm a 4-wing-3.
Oh,
Are you guys in the heart quadrant, which is third, which is like
I'm in the heart quadrant.
2 to 5, 2 to 4?
I'm in number 2.
Of course you are, yeah.
I'm a number 5, so I'm a 5 wing. I think I'm a 5
like
wing
detail.
4. Yeah, I'm like, that's my passion is information. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
Could you tell?
no, but I've found that like literally majority of the people in my life are like in that around 2 to 5. I don't know too many people outside that. There's 9 personality profiles in the Enneagram, and they all have different like values or whatever. And the area that I'm in is like more heart, like feelings, emotional, and 5 is like head. And then what's the other one? There's like another third. There's three.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah,
it's fucked up there.
There's heart at the head, and I can't remember. But yeah,
body. But I was like, I bet you we're all around the same personality type because we like connecting on more authentic connection, deeper topics.
So your primary numbers are 4, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. The artist.
4 is the artist, the innovator, the individualist.
I love it.
And then link 3 is the achiever. So that's like the drive. And then your 1 is 5, which is the investigator. So you want to learn. What are you?
Number 2.
2. So yours is the
giver.
Is it reform? Oh, the helper.
Yeah.
So you're great at people pleasing and
the best
service. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at our
yes man.
Yeah. But if you look at our constitutions yesterday, you see us operate the room. That is, we do it differently. But I think it works so well because we work off of each other's strengths. So Eoin is like the social guy. And he did it. He was asking for people's things and things and things. That was in my mind, but I was like,
no, but even your language, I now realize after knowing this and hearing you both talk, you, Leigh, were talking more like almost analytically. Like when you're talking, you were like, even the video I just cut then, you were talking about, okay, I could have done this razor cut in 45 minutes. I could have added all these things. It was all detail. When you were talking, you went into practicality, but you always ended with, it's all about the purpose and the heart and the helping other. Like you always put others into it at the end, which is a strong message for any service provider of any industry, but probably in your industry of like, we're all here to make money and do cool things that we love, but like, let's not forget about the experience and the outcome for others, because that's like, literally that's how you build. It's like I say to people in the music industry, because so many of us have been through negative situations with representation, people like managers or whatever, right? And sometimes you work with people in our industry that they're meant to be there, say, representing the artist or the creator in some way, or the talent in some way, and they end up trying to build their own profile as like, oh, I'm the big shot manager, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be, it could be like agent, label, like whatever it is, A&R, anything. And that's the self-interest or the ego being like, I have an insecurity, I have things to be met, I need validation. Whereas it's like, well, either find an avenue where you are the primary person getting validation, like you go be the artist, but if you're servicing an artist or a talent, then if you focus on building them and getting them the validation, making them bigger, you will reap the rewards of becoming the one who made them fit. But like, so it's that focus on others to build yourself as well. And I think in service providing, that's how it should be, because the best brands in the world and everything, that it's about the experience of the customer, which makes their brand look better because everyone feels better. But so many people miss that in both our industries. I think it is an insecurity ego thing. And I've experienced that with just with barbers. Like, we've all met people who are like, even just me as a customer, like I met guys who are like there to look cool and be the cool barber. It's like, okay, that's nice, but just do the hair well, like, and then you will be the cool barber.
Just
like,
just get good at doing the thing first. Yeah.
So I like you're employing your 2, you're employing your 5, analytical, heart, others, good mix. And it's probably why your partnership's so good.
Yeah. I honestly, I really think that is the truth, like, because I'm so inspired. It almost like we check each other, because I'm inspired by how much Eoin can actually care about people, whereas I'll be like, don't worry about that, but I want to be like, maybe we should help them in this way, right? And then, but vice versa. Sometimes when Owen's thought, like, is just observational, he might be going so far into the 2 that it's at his detriment. Like, dude, this is actually like harming you now.
Is your wing a 3?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Then I can kind of
can't remember the wings, but I think so.
Yeah. Then I can come in and say, yeah, maybe, like, I get that you want to help these people, but this, and then it will kind of keep him like a bit more like emotionally healthy.
Yes. Yeah.
So I feel like we inspire each other's constitution so much. Like, sometimes I'm like, how is he still helping these people? Like, I want to be more like that, because my analytical brain just turned off.
But it's what I love about the personality, the fluidity of these personality profiles, because they're really, we're all on a big spectrum of attributes, right? And they're all we can all learn from each one. And sometimes I like learning from other friends who are in different like Enneagram types. So, pardon me, one of my best mates is also a 5. Well, he's a 4, but he has a wing 5, but I feel like he lives from his 5 more. And I've learned from him to just like be more detail oriented, look at numbers and facts more, like answer things. Like when we talk, he wants to know, he asks me like a billion questions, and I'm like, I'm telling you, like, I just want the big picture. I want the macro. And he's like, but what about this, all these micro details. But it's inspired me to start asking people more questions. And it also helps me socially, because if I ask questions about people in detail, they talk about themselves, they feel better, and we feel more connected. So it actually has in a roundabout way, I'm achieving my need for connection as an Enneagram 4, which is like deep connection driven. I get my need for connection if I ask people more 5 questions.
Yeah, so good. So it's got
yeah. And the helpers, I work really well with Enneagram 2s, especially if they're working for me, because they're just so good at, especially if they're like got a 3 wing, so they want to achieve, but they're really good in like 2IC positions or delegated positions. But interesting that you are the business owner, which of course is possible, but I think that could be your 3 coming in and being like achieved.
Yeah, I often think about like, you know, it goes across the board for me in a lot of different areas, but like my biggest strengths can also be my biggest weaknesses.
Oh, that's all of us.
And it's all built on trauma patterns, really.
Oh, here we go.
A lot of it.
Next topic.
Here you go. Next level. Okay.
Not something else I know a lot about.
But it is. It's like,
I am a musician. We got the traumas.
when I boil it down,
songs about that. Did you know?
yeah, when it's boiled down to its to the bare ingredients, that's what it is. But what it's helped me with is understanding other people, because it's one thing understanding myself, but like, I guess we have, a lot of humans anyway, have a natural kind of cognitive bias towards thinking that everyone should think like me, or everyone should think the same as me.
That's some tunnel vision, hey?
Yeah.
We all have done it, but I think as you grow, you realize, like, that's also why I love these personality profiles, because it helps you realize not everyone's the same, and you have to meet them where they're at.
Exactly. And sometimes we, like, because we can be so different in terms of the 9 personality types, we might never get through to certain people.
Yeah.
And like, it actually happened with us when we started to learn about this. It was in our last business partnership, and we couldn't see eye to eye with our business partner. And I was just caught up in emotion about it, because I'm a number 2, and I was feeling it, and I was really trying to make it work.
Yeah.
But then we went to see Melissa Maskey, and she kind of helped me to understand it, and she helped me to understand his personality type.
Yeah, great.
Off a guess. We don't know exactly what it is, but off a guess. And that really helped me to get it.
It does. I mean, I've had to do that as well with people that used to be in my life, where I had to, like, this is a bit 5 of me, where I'm like, I need to know and understand where they were coming from to get closure for how I was treated. That's a big one. That's actually a big part of trauma work, I think. Although you should be able to just process it and let it go, some of us might need to process it to a point where we have a greater need for understanding of what was their motive and that. But, you know, depending on what happened, sometimes you can't, because you'll never know, like, why someone acts the way they do, and you do have to let go. But
yeah, and they're all acting out of patterns as well, you know.
Everyone.
I think like the words. I love the word sonder, because it's just, it explains the world brilliantly. And
Sonder?
Yeah, sonder is kind of the concept of like each individual is living as interestingly, or as like, as, what's the way to put it? Every single person on the planet has as interesting and a complex life as we do.
Everyone's a main character.
Yes. So like, to this guy over here, like on his laptop, on his headphones, that's his world. Like, and his world is as interesting as ours.
Yes.
But he knows nothing about ours.
Yeah.
But for us to look at it from the lens of, I'm the only thing that exists, of course we start making shit mean stuff about us when it means absolutely nothing about us. Like the people who are reacting to us and trying, you know, we see it as, oh, this person did this to me. It's like, no, that person is acting out of a pattern, and it's up to me whether I make it mean something about me or not. You know, it's kind of like that.
Yeah,
now
it's like systems and systems, and everyone's a main character, and everyone that's humanity functioning together individually. Do you know about the spiral dynamic system?
yes,
It's that.
yeah.
The higher
I think
levels.
you
Did I show you?
introduced me to spiral dynamics.
It's like different levels of consciousness evolving, and
It's interesting. Isn't it? It's almost like a staircase, because when someone elevates in consciousness, they almost have to. It's like they take a step to the side,
yes,
and then they go up again.
like a.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a DNA strand. There's like two
Like a
things
helix.
that go around. Yeah, and you go opposite each side as you. So basically, like I think like the lower levels would be of consciousness in humanity would be like, okay, survival, survival, reproduction, and then the next one would be like tribalism, community, and the next one would be like social hierarchy, and the next one would be like purpose and meaning, religion or something, and the next one would be like science and measurable data, and the next one would be like philanthropy and goodwill, and then the next one, and then you go higher up, and it eventually gets to the point where you're just like, you can accept Sonda, that everyone is an individual and they are all in different stages of this this ladder or wherever they are, and they all have their own beliefs and they're all their own worldviews, and they may not agree with mine, and they may not even be able to see or accept this conversation we're having, and I'm okay with that, because that is the beauty of the world and how everybody is individual and relate, somehow functions together even though we're different, and you keep going up the levels, and it gets to like this like Gandhi point where you're just like, I am everyone and we're nothing, and like, it gets really spiritual, and you're just like, yep, everything is how it is, and I have no problem with the world, because we cannot change human nature, and like we can impact and change and inspire people to grow. We cannot change people to, like, we cannot grow people, and we've all tried.
That's why I love the Enneagram. That was something that Melissa, so this lady that we work with in Melbourne, she's an Enneagram specialist. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
she trained at the Enneagram school and all that stuff. So
I'm obsessed with it.
yeah, you guys could get along great. But she kind of helped us with that as well, and she said, look, we need all 9. She was like, the world needs every number. Yeah. She was like, no one is good, bad, better than the other. Yeah. She was like, we need them all. Yeah. She said, the trick is staying in the health of your number, so that we can work in harmony. Yeah. It's like, of course.
It's basically like being the healthiest version of yourself, even if you feel different to other people, because that makes you accept other people and better at dealing with other people. One of my mates always says, accept other people's worldview. So accept other people's worlds. So, like, and it's hard because we will have bad days, we have our own opinions and our own ego get in the way and our own wants and desires and frustrations, but we do have to be like, okay, well, I tried to say this, but this person didn't see it that way because maybe they've been hurt by A. And I was like, A's not that bad. And you're like, but they've been hurt by A, and I haven't been hurt by A. And they can't, well, we have to accept that that's their world, and we may not be able to talk to them about A, we may be able to talk to them about B, because B hasn't hurt them. Even though we want to push whatever A is, I don't know, topic, agenda, thing, person, we can't, because like we got to accept their world.
Yeah, they're not there yet, and they might get there.
No, but not there ever. Maybe ever, because like maybe you're there is not ever there. Like,
it's the same thing with spiral dynamics, right? Like after we spoke about that the first time, I went into rabbit holes thinking about it myself. But
because Owen came to me, it's like, you heard of spiral dynamics? I'm like, yeah, and then I was like, oh no, here he goes.
it just brings another layer of understanding of like where people are at, and like some people get stuck on one level of that like staircase. It's like just stuck there.
Well, I was in, I don't know about you, I mean, you're Irish, I don't know what it was like growing up, but I was in church for most of my life, and I learned about spiral dynamics when I left the church Christian culture and I guess machine, or not industry, but it kind of was an industry in some ways, but I would say that establishment and the systems within it and that the spiral dynamics helped me go, oh wow, I was living in this level, and I thought that was the only level that mattered. Like I could not accept, like I literally looked at spiral dynamics when I was in church, and I looked at the one that like there's a level where it's like religion orientated, follows a deity, and I said to myself, that's the correct one. All these other people are wrong, because I was literally in that level. And as I grew, I went to like different other levels. I think the spiritual one where a lot of like religious people is the purple level, and the next one's orange, which is like science. So a lot of atheism lives there. So a lot of people jump to the opposite end. It's like a pendulum swing. They go to orange where they're like, no, science, atheism, like binary concepts, like, and then they never kind of progress from there. And it's out of like a wounded place of, I was wounded by spirituality. But as you go up, you start to integrate all of them, and you go, well, I see the importance of science, I see the importance of spirituality, I see the importance of belief beyond what we see, and I see the importance of like binary logic and how it all works together. And yeah, so it's really interesting that and I'm sure I'll have many more worldviews that will change, and we all will as we grow.
I love that. I wrote something last week based on a bit of content that I was sent about, just someone was going off on one, but I wrote
Heinous.
Yeah, kind of, and I wrote something being like,
why isn't Leigh first in the thing? I know he hasn't got more followers, but
but
Owen
the follower count.
it was around
Leigh
contradictions. The whole thing was around contradiction, right? And it was like, if somebody had said to me years and years ago that like you're a walking contradiction, I would have really taken it like to heart. I would have been like,
we all are.
But then I saw the other day, I was like, someone called me that now, I'd actually take it as a compliment, because it means that I was growing out of my convictions.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't the same person I was a month ago, let alone a
Of
year
course my
ago.
beliefs have changed, because I'm learning some shit. Like otherwise I'm stuck on that stairs and the ladder.
You know, it was a hard one for me.
Or that step of the ladder,
The hard one for me was accepting that people who have let me down or hurt me, that I held, because I was hurt by them, and I had to hold a caricature or a belief or a like an avatar over who they are based off who they were to me at one time in my life where they let me down or hurt me. And it's still, it could be years later, and if I hear about them or something, I would just assume they haven't grown, they're the same person. But I don't want people to do that to me, because I've done the same to other people. So I'm like, well, and that's a hard pill to swallow, going like, someone who like really hurt me, maybe they've actually grown, like maybe they haven't, but maybe they've actually grown and they've learned. And then it's the grace you have to give yourself as well.
So how would we want to be?
Yeah.
How would we want to be treated in that situation, right?
It's like you see somebody that like, they're holding on to like a high school beef, and you're like, are you serious, bro? Like, your kids, like, like people grow up,
It's so cliche, but the answer always is more love, right? Like it's such a cliche thing, but love does solve a lot of these things, or it's the equalizer for a lot of these things, because
that's even hard to say though, because some people have been hurt by love.
I know.
But if I mean, maybe with better words like empathy or something.
I guess the energy of love more so, like and that all is like, I am everything and I'm nothing kind of love.
The way that again, it's one I'll probably forever be trying to articulate, and maybe love isn't the right word, but maybe it's, I don't know what it is, like acceptance or empathy or non-judgment, whatever the word is. But the way, there's a psychologist called Peter Crone, how he speaks about it, it was like, I can't tell you what's true, but what I do know is what is real, and what is real is how we feel.
Yes, emotions are real.
Exactly. And he says, so most people, and he says most, would rather feel more love than less.
Yeah.
Right? And those kinds of things. And less judgment, the more, and it all kind of falls into this love category. So same thing with that, like the person that hurt you, it might stem back to a story that they didn't feel love at some point, they weren't loved at some point, to create a protection mechanism around something that created a pattern that eventuated in out hurting you. So again,
or any of us to anyone. Like,
exactly. And then
I
the
think everyone's done it
counteraction.
to
100%.
Yeah.
Small and not for hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I look at old versions of myself now, and I'm like, I don't like how I was. Like, especially going back to Ireland now. I'm walking around in my city, and I'm
the misidentification.
I was even speaking to Hannah about it. I was like walking past my high school the other day, where I went to secondary school. And I was just thinking back to like some of the girlfriends that I even had at that time. And I was like, when my number 2 was coming through, you know, I was like, shit, like it's not that I treated them badly, but I didn't give them the respect that they deserved.
Yeah.
You know, and I could feel really bad about it, but now, but of course I did that because that was my version of survival back then. I didn't understand.
Yeah. So I've fallen into that trap as well, like judging that part of me. And that's when it can get quite constricted.
If you have a shame cycle,
exactly,
really hard.
And that's where, like, I come back to the love thing, and the equalizer to that is more love, not for the person, but for you.
Yeah,
you know, because there's two ends of that scale. You can judge that part of you,
that's good.
Or you can love that part of you. The love will equalize it, and that's it. It's we just have to accept it because it's happened.
Yeah,
and you know, we could wish it could be a different way, but if it was, it would have been. You know, and that's.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about, like, sometimes places can take us back to an older version of myself, and it feels a bit ick. It's because it's like, well, it's almost like I don't like myself how I was back then, because I was going through something, I was hurt, I was depressed, whatever, in a shame cycle, whatever it may be. I have like errors of that where I think about a particular year and I was like, oh, that was a good year, I was in a better place. That year, I don't like myself in that year. Like, things happened that were good, but like, I wasn't me, you know, and it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to identify. But yeah, same grace for yourself and others, very important.
Yeah. Going back to Ireland was a bit of a trip when it came to that. You know, it was like it's like the same thing as, like, it's the sensory stuff, right? Like, you can smell something, you smell a perfume or smell an aftershave, and it takes you back to a certain time or period in your life.
But you can override it. I've done that with my hometown, where I've had, like, I wanted to leave forever. I left, came back, hated it, didn't want to be there. But then I came back again after, like, the pandemic, and I moved back for a bit, and I started liking it again. Things had changed there, but also I was changed. And then I 100% liked it a bit more. I feel like that right now.
Okay.
It's bringing me back to the memories, and I'm feeling that stuff a bit more, but I don't feel like the same person that I was the last time I was back.
And we have to do that
it more
with people.
Yes, and I'm appreciating it more for what it actually is, rather than what I think it should be. Because what kind of audacity is that? It's like, who am I to think that should be a different way? It's like, it's done me a lot of good as well as.
Yeah, you got to see well, yeah, I have. It's hard, but like, I've had to do that with people where it's like, okay, this person like really hurt me, but if that hurt didn't happen, I wouldn't have gone into this, which made me meet this person, which ended up doing this. I wouldn't have got this work, like, wouldn't be here, you know. And sometimes you go, oh, you've actually, it's a cliche, but it's like you've done me a better service by breaking my heart. That was the
best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, and it's hard in the moment, but it's that hindsight. So
hindsight, you wish it never happened. There's a stat that says, like, you know, most people on their deathbed wouldn't go back and like change anything.
Well, what do they call that? It's like what does Kerwin Ray call that? It's like the arrays theory or something, where you ask people that at the end of their life. So if I could go back and take away all of your pain, all of the bad stuff that happened, a more percentage of people would say no, don't do it, than people that say yes.
Of course, yeah.
They're like, you know, even though life can be so painful.
Then why aren't we doing that day to day?
Exactly.
We should be.
Exactly. We're not on a broad enough time horizon.
We've been talking about this
a lot. We're not looking at like the big picture enough.
Yeah, which is why like a lot of people don't get there till they're dying.
Exactly. Like my mother, right? Like every time we meet, like after a long period of time, the whole situation with like family comes up, and I get to live through it and hear about it all, time and time again. Not that I at the time I didn't really get it. When I was a kid, I was more confused. But like, she went through a lot of pain, like in the divorce and in the split and all of that. But if she was asked right now, would she change it? She wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Because of me, like, because she has me, so she wouldn't change it. And You know, that's what we speak to our coaching group about. We were speaking to them about it this morning.
Literally, yeah.
They're trying to make fast decisions around certain things which could be detrimental to their business.
Yeah.
And we're like, just whoa, like slow down. Like, what's another 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Just zoom out a little bit. What game are you playing? Like zoom out.
But also, that's the not being afraid to fail or failing often. It's like, well, the failures equal feedback, which equal changes, which equal better results. But we don't. It's hard to look at it that way if it's, say, like our personal life or like our emotions in something. Like it's kind of like going. A lot of people could say, "Oh, I'm single. I've had nothing but heartbreak. I've had bad relationships." It's like, yeah, but they're like failures to optimize yourself and your decisions in the future. When I started looking at it like that, it made me so much stronger as an individual.
The best thing that ever happened to us was what happened last year with the business. Because otherwise we wouldn't have the experience that we have now to help other people in the future. We don't know what we have in our tool belt now for when we need it. This happened to you. Let me go back to my tool belt.
I feel so in the music industry is a wild place, and it's the same thing. Like, a lot of people get very hurt and eaten up by it, and now that I've gone through some like heavy stuff in it, just over the years, just so many things, it just makes you be like, oh, now I'm more prepared than ever for it. Like, I'm more prepared than ever to just build, you know, and it makes you really grateful when you get out of that. But on trauma, your brain, like your subconscious, has to rewire those paths where there is hurt. And like going back to your hometown, if you do it 10 more times, it'll probably calm down and be like, oh, there's no danger here. Like, I heard an interesting thing about when bank robberies occur, there's apparently someone started doing this thing where because the staff don't want to come in. If there's an attempted robbery, like in a bank, like the staff obviously they're traumatized. They don't want to go to work and feel like they're going to get shot or something. So what they started doing is they started putting in like armed security every day in the bank, but they slowly like trickle them off. So they do it like every day. They got guys in there with guns and everything, like guarding for like 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever, and then they slowly start like making their shifts less and less, and it trains all the employees to be like, this is safe again, and they can wean them off like a drug. And that's just our brains. Like, we have to readjust and learn that there's safety and it's not unsafe, and we have to do that with our emotions around places, people, events, triggers, and it's hard, like, and it can really fuck you up. Like, I've had things happen where me making music was a trigger. Like, it went that deep, but you have to just push through and keep doing it and that's where things, then you actually start doing it not for your own ego and success and fame, but you start doing it for the purpose of, and what you like, others.
It connects back to why you're doing it in the first place.
The essence of why you do it, why you love what you do.
It's almost healing then, isn't it? It's like healing in that sense.
It is.
And the trauma almost comes from the opposite of that, you know, because it's like, well, fuck, what was I doing that for everyone else? And I got caught up I went off on a side.
People pleasing tangent because you're a too.
Yeah, 100%. It's what I realised plenty of times in my life. But yeah, there's so much value in that. But it expands your capacity then to hold more in the future. It's like cold exposure. You know, you get in a cold shower the first time you do it, it's the worst thing in the world.
This is why you told me you had cold showers today.
Yeah. So Corey that you met yesterday, when he started working with us in our coaching group, there was one particular planning session that we did with him where it was like an identity thing. Like, he couldn't get past, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, I'm sure he'll be fine with it. There's a couple of things.
Sorry, Corey.
It's not that deep, but there was a couple of things that were maybe holding him back from achieving his like potential. And one of them was like his identity as like who he sees himself as, and he didn't see himself as a person who could do hard things. So I was
start with cold showers.
I start with cold showers and see how you go. And now he's running an ultra marathon.
Yeah.
over here.
Wow,
in a few
holy
weeks.
shit.
Well, look at he's
Good
moved
work,
from
Corey.
Sydney
That's
to
amazing.
London.
Good
Right?
work. Yeah, he has moved
like,
outside the world. Yeah.
Yeah, now he's over here doing
Yeah.
the hardest thing you can actually do. You fly the nest.
Yeah.
And now he's running all this. He's walking with a different pep in his step compared to like the guy he used to be.
Every time I see him, he's different.
Yeah.
Every time I see him, it's
That's
it's
great.
like a new version of Corey. Like, yeah, it's so cool to see.
So that's the living proof of like expanding the capacity. I had it in Bali as well when I went there and started doing the cold plunges over there.
Oh yeah.
Because they hit a bit different over there because it's hot.
Yeah.
And then you're getting into like,
It's a more extreme.
it's more
yeah, the
extreme.
contrast. Yeah.
The contrast is more extreme. But the first day we could barely get in. And then by the end, like, 3-4 months later, me and Hannah are sitting in there and I'm just sitting there and I'm just in there like, just chilling. And then I'm watching everybody else get in and I'm watching their nervous system's reaction to it. And I'm like, oh wow, you just haven't built the capacity to hold more yet. And that goes across the board into all aspects of
Everything
what we
we
do
do.
in business experience, in like the amount of stuff that we can deal with hair. But what that does is when we hold the higher capacity, it allows us to be more present in the moment and see more of what's going on.
I have this theory that a lot, maybe not every industry or speciality, but everything like a skill set or a skill set in a new industry or a new field is mostly jargon and reps. It's like learning the language of that field. Like, I don't know, as much as you guys do about the jargon around hair and everything. You may not know as much as me about music production or something, but once you learn what that is, it's like, oh, it's just a word for this, and you have an analogy to understand what that is, and then it's just reps of learning to use it, which is reconfiguring the nervous system and the memory.
For you, imagine, I don't know, going on stage, like that would have been terrifying once upon a time.
Yesterday,
But you need to do the reps, right?
yesterday when we were side of stage before we got up to do the hair modeling, I like automatically almost started doing vocal warm-ups or something, or just checking my voice.
It's like, I was about to do vocal warm-ups. I'm like, that's cool.
Because I'm just like, oh, a stage, I have to get on it. I got to sing.
Well, that's just like association
like this,
with
waiting for the mic.
Yeah.
association with the what's about to go on, or like what's about to happen.
But it was great. Then I was like, hang on, all I have to do is sit down. And I love being a stage show. I'm like comfortable with just people looking at me, like it's fine. So I was like, oh great, this is easy today. I just have to sit. But then we were talking about like some other people that got up seemed a bit nervous, like the other people talking, because that's not new. It's new for them.
It's their capacity. They don't have they haven't expanded the capacity to hold more yet.
Yeah.
So then they can never fully enjoy the experience
Yeah.
because they're not present.
Yes.
Like I actually felt like there's a couple of moments up there yesterday where I was like, I'm really quite present here.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Reps. That's reps.
It's reps, yeah. And I love that jargon and reps.
And it's the same with, I guess, even barbering. Like the more that you do it, the more reps. Yeah.
I feel like as well something we might have been talking about it together, but the ability to like transform the energy quickly as well. Because there was a moment where I got the butterflies right before we go on, like, oh, the anticipation, here we go, like, and then, but it transformed very quickly. I came back down to the side and leveled out within a couple of minutes, and then time just slowed down again. Yeah. But that never would have happened in the past. The whole thing would have been
You would have been freaking
like
out.
a tense,
Now it's like you can enjoy the ride.
I didn't really get that yesterday. I get it more when it's just me and Leigh and nobody else to like MC it, or there's two other guys on.
Oh, it was very padded yesterday, very cushioned yesterday.
Yeah.
Because you're on a panel.
We've done similar things where it's just us and no hair.
And we've had to design the whole show.
Like no hair to hide behind.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now we're just standing here talking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like now we got to hold people for an hour just talking. And that they've been expanding experience.
That's like me programming a set, playing a set. It's like I have to make sure people don't want to leave the room. They want to keep coming in and they want to stay and watch and see where it goes next. Yeah.
And then like the best part of all of this is like then seeing the growth and actually monitoring the growth, because we did something similar a couple of years back and we watched a video back recently of one of our shows, and then we watched this year's or last year's one an exact year later, and the difference is crazy, and I'm sure you're the same with yours. Like,
oh yeah, even like I don't know, my vocal ability seeing, like, hearing back to songs from a while ago and being like, wow, even the song a few months ago, like, I'm like, oh wow, I'm better now because I've been doing like the training, and then, or even like production and mixing songs. It's like, okay, I've learnt new things, now I can do this better. I should go back and fix up that old song because I could do it better now. Yeah, it's exactly the same. But business is also interesting because when it comes to the marketing and sales side of business, that's all constant experimentation. That you like, it's almost like in the skill set, the reps is what works. In the sales side or the marketing or whatever, getting the customers, getting the sales, it's like that's where it's not so much reps as it is like intuition and experimentation.
And volume in a way. Like I think like just doing more and more of it, but still keeping the quality pretty high. It's like every day that goes by and we don't put something out, it's like we missed an opportunity to learn something. Because we can't review the experiment.
I hate doing content, to be honest, but that's a good way to look at it. Maybe I'll start doing content.
We've had to reframe it for ourselves.
Your own belief system.
Working in the coaching space, same thing, because barbers will say that to us, oh, we don't do content, and we've had to reframe it. Yeah.
That's an interesting parallel with our industries, because like there is that thing where artists, like we want to make our content is our product, which is our song. We want, like, I'm happy to do a podcast. I love having, authentic conversation. I think a lot of great stuff can come out of things like this. I love making the songs and performing the songs, but I don't want to make TikToks every day. And that's what a lot of the industry, like there's a whole ongoing conflict with that.
Yesterday we were talking about
the same thing.
Mutual friends that we had. So San Joseph and his friend Angus, right? Shout out San Joseph, amazing artist. Yeah. So his friend Angus Legg, another fantastic artist from Melbourne. But I used to cut his hair, and we were talking about the marketing and the content side of things. He's like, I hate it. He's like, I hate it. He's so talented, there's not many that love it. And he's like, I hate it. And he's like, we spoke about it, and no one knows who he is. Like, he's nowhere near as well known as San Joseph. Very talented, but nowhere near as known. So it just proves like you're not going to get known. It's very hard to get known if the consistency's not there.
Yeah, that's something I struggle with a lot.
So my thing is like not forcing yourself to do it, but can we reframe and just be like, look, it's just a tool. Much like you've got your guitar, you've got your amp, you've got your microphone, you've got your marketing, your social media, and it just fits in the whole machine.
I think the problem in our scene is that it's a new thing that we didn't used to have to do it, and I think we all look back, it's like, well, these people didn't do it and they made it. It's like different machine.
Yeah. Do you know what I see in your world as well? Because I love the music industry too. I feel like there'd be a stigma around like the TikTok artist.
Oh yeah.
Artists wouldn't want to sell out like that. They wouldn't be like, I don't want to be a TikTok artist.
It's hard because like it's hard to, like, if you have to make a song every day, there's a point where you're like, I have no material in my soul to talk about. I feel kind of forced now to have to write every day. But most of the time we have something to talk about. So we can, like, it's much easier for a songwriter to write a song every day than it probably is to do a piece of content, because the song comes out from an authentic place. Whereas the content is like, okay, I've got to hit these parameters, I got to hit this trend, I got to hit like all these variables, and I have to perform. And it's so, even though we like singing and performing, like it's just like it has a different like spirit to it. It's not authentic. Like, we know what we're doing it for. We're doing it for numbers.
So this is where we can bring Rick Rubin into the conversation, right? Like, let's bring the Rick Rubin approach in. Creating content for marketing purposes is creating for other people.
So like that's where my argument goes when it comes to content, is like, what metrics are we looking at?
Yeah.
Are we looking at likes, comments, views, followers? Are we looking at bank account? Because it doesn't matter. Like, I just don't think the trends work. I never follow them. I am the trend, and if people like it, they'll come to it.
Yeah, well,
and then that's it.
Yeah,
I'll do what feels authentic. I love the authenticity into the content.
Well, that's the flaw with viral content, is because like you might have one video or meme or something that is like goes viral, but it's like people stay for the person. And like for me, I would much prefer to film a whole lot of music videos, which is like, to me, it's like, it's authentic, it's artistic, it gets the branding right, I'm performing. I'd rather do that and split that up into content than do like, I'm going to talk about this today, or I'm going to do this trend, or like this cover or this dance or something, you know, like.
Yeah, no, none of that.
We'll think about it this way as well, like from an energetic level, like if you go viral for something that's inauthentic, that is going to be exhausting keeping that up. You're going to hate your career.
Yeah.
You'll probably end up just hating it.
I had this conversation with my coach about basically the same thing, but in a songwriting aspect. So I'm like refining my sound at the moment, finishing records, trying to make them more cohesive. And part of me was like, I'm kind of heading in this direction. I know people will like this sound, but is it something that I want to keep up? And she's like, she's like, I've known artists who have did something because it popped off like a sound and it worked for them and they were good at it, and then the industry recognized them for that sound, but they couldn't sustain it long term and they burnt out and turned into nothing because it's not them. So I'm like, yes, I have to go back to the drawing board and make sure that everything comes out is authentically me. But I think what's hard for artists with that is that we are so often looking at everyone else and going, what will the industry accept? What will work? This person just did this and sounds like this. We should be like them. Australians in particular, we have a very small pond in Australia with music, and I think there's a lot of like copying with sounds. There's a lot of like, this is the local equivalent to this international artist. And it's like, well, we already have that artist. Why do we need another one of them? Like, and because it's a small industry, people resonate with things that sound similar, like reference points. And the industry also likes reference points. They like it when you say, oh, this new artist sounds like this artist crossed to this artist, or this genre with this genre. Whereas most artists are like, don't pigeonhole me because I'm an ever evolving, fluid artist and creator. It's a very interesting conflict, and that's actually one of my pitfalls, is that I get caught up in that a bit too much instead of just making it and putting it out and seeing what the market likes, and at least knowing that it's just me in the end of the day, like knowing that, well, if they like this or like that, at least all of those pieces of work were still authentic, rather than I tried this trend here, which I've done before. I'm like, I've tried this trend here and it worked, maybe I should do more of that. Or I've tried this trend here, it didn't work, all right, I'm abandoning that. It's like changing your viewpoint on testing, almost.
Yeah. I feel like the trends put people in their own pigeonholes.
Yes.
Because if it does work, then you think, oh, I got to do that because it works. But then it plays into people's trauma patterns as well. Because it's like, you're back to trauma patterns again. Well, it does. Because it's like, oh, well, I'm getting attention now for this thing, so let me do it until I have an identity crisis, and then I'll be like, fuck, I have to start again.
Well, also from like a skill point of view as well, like sometimes we see it in the hair world, like people will try and emulate a trend so much that they get known for it, but that then becomes the only thing they can do. And then when it changes again, they're gone as fast as they came in. And that could you probably see that in the music world too. They might do this one thing, and the danger of getting so drawn into that thing is like, because the moment it changes, you're gone.
You're led by everyone else then as well.
Yeah.
You're led by the
that
audience.
That is a dangerous funnel.
You're led by the audience, and like that
could cripple you even more, because you know.
There's layers.
You think I'm making it, and then all of a sudden, no, not anymore.
There's layers of depth to it. And like, I did a coaching course with Kerwin Ray. It was my first kind of business coach, I guess you'd say.
Awesome. Yep.
And it's really, even now throughout this conversation, the importance of having a purpose, like personally and from a business aspect, guides all the decisions. It's like, do we do this trend?
Point.
Do we do this trend? Nah, I don't think that's a good idea. But just because, I said it yesterday on stage too, just because something's a good idea doesn't mean we should do it.
No, not at all.
Because it could ruin our brand. Look at Jewel. Remember Jewel? Do you see that documentary about Jewel?
No, I didn't say doco.
And they just followed the trend, and then the business just crashed because it wasn't authentic, it wasn't thought through, there wasn't enough purpose in it.
Well, like the authenticity creates connection, which creates culture, and a culture is what's unbeatable around the brand.
Yes.
Because that's like live or die following, really.
And once people cop onto the fact that like, oh, he's just doing this to try and get likes, views, comments, it's like then you've lost them, because that's not the reason that they followed you in the first place.
Yes, no, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
So for me, and Leigh's the same here, one of the biggest contributing factors in our business, the way we operate our business and how we choose to make content, is based on what is our purpose, why are we making this content in the first place, and who is it for, and where does this fit in with our value stack. And if it doesn't fit with those three things, we just don't make it. You know, we just don't put it out.
Can you break down that for a second?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I have my own ones for my own business and artistry, but I think I don't use the same language.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's different jargon for different people, right? Like, so the purpose of the business is like the reason why the business exists.
It's like the mission statement.
Yeah. And for us, it can be something as simple as just to help people.
Yep.
You know, or to help people break past some limiting beliefs.
Yep.
It could be something. So, the purpose of the podcast, to help people see the world in a different way and break down some of their limiting beliefs.
Understanding, whatever. Yeah.
Simple as that. And then our values as human beings are then kind of like the GPS, like through that, as we navigate that road. It's like who we get on the podcast and the conversations that we have. We have to choose, like, I guess not so much carefully. We're always ourselves wherever we are. Like, if we're on stage, we're the same people as we are here. If we're doing anything we're doing, we're still the same. We have conversations like this off camera, and like the best conversations have been caught off camera.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday the best conversation was caught
How about podcast worthy yesterday?
Yeah, our chat in the room. Yeah.
So
that's good.
For us, it's like that's kind of the breakdown of it. And then when it comes to actually making decisions within the business as well, for like hires, like how we're going to market something, how we're going to anything, it's like, okay, does this fit in with the purpose? What our mission is then is like the measurable thing. We use like a mission as a measurable thing. We want to impact this many people by
so you've created like metrics around the mission statement.
Yes.
That's interesting. I haven't thought about it that way. Like, there's a lot of mine, like I've got my mission statement tattooed on my arm. It says innovate, influence, save. So it's innovate music, influence popular culture, and save lives. But I haven't put metrics on that.
It's like, okay, so it's like, how many lives?
Yeah.
And it's like, by when?
Yeah. That's the big one.
You know?
Yeah, and then how?
And then how are you going to do it?
Like, I know for me, a big one is like, I want to do something with blood donations, because I've had to have a lot of blood transfusions in my life from having blood disorders. So that's like just one part of many things I would think of doing to help, like ambassadoring that. And then, I mean, innovating, I would say I've already achieved that a little bit with my business, because we kind of came into the dance industry and kind of changed. At least in Australia, I feel like the music that we did was in a way that other people weren't really doing it. And and now a lot of people want that kind of music for that industry. So I'm like, okay, I unintentionally, like I was doing what was authentic to me. And I was just going, oh, these people, these dancers need music. I'm gonna like, I don't know anything about the industry. So I came in not knowing, and then I went, sounds like they need a bit of freshening up. So I just did what I knew as a producer, and it worked, and it like caught on. And now people are like copying us. So I'm like, okay, that was unintentionally innovating from an authentic place. Yeah. So that's a really great thought. I just, haven't really thought about it that way with where it came from.
That's why I love it too, because that can sound restrictive to some people. They'll be like, oh, what? So I have to stick to my purpose and my mission and my values. It's like, yeah. But that's where I think the true innovation comes from, because when you put that little limitation around it, it's like, all right, now we've got to really come up with something clever here and special. And like you said, the innovation came and it worked for you.
Yes,
It works for a lot of people. Yeah. It's just having the patience and the willingness to actually do it, And
it's not very easy. It took me a decade, and I'm still yet to fully see that occur in my own artistry. Like, there's been moments, but I feel like moving here, I'm at the start of it, and it's actually really exciting. So it's like now to do that again. So this is a great reminder. Thank you.
It's nice to go back to the start sometimes and feel like we're starting a new journey.
Well, it's exactly what I had recently, where I came here, I wanted to hit the ground running, release music, and I was hurrying to finish records. And then I had some conversations and I was like, hang on, I need, this music could be more me, it could be more authentic, and it could be better. I can do better. So like, let's not put a deadline on myself. Let's make it the best, and that will speak better, and that will build the reputation I want.
Because that, even like what we were saying there about like by when, like that can actually be a good thing and a not so good thing, because it can make us feel like I have to rush some shit out to get it done by then. But again, it's just, okay, well, it's put in place, a by when is put in place so that we can reverse engineer what we need to do, rather than get there. You know, so it's like, okay, well, let's just reverse engineer what steps do we need to take, rather than I need to get here by that year, because what's going to happen if you don't? Nothing. So you just expand the time horizon. You just go, okay, well, I'll just make it longer then. It's just going to take an extra year. But within that extra year, it's going to go from X amount of lives to like way more, because I've done it from an authentic place.
And it will compound. Once it gets going, it will compound anyway.
Exactly. The momentum will build. It might happen differently to what we've planned anyway. So we have to be open to it, like just changing and overnight. It can just be like, well, now we're doing this thing because this feels better. So yeah, that's an unlimited. That's an unlimited place.
We've gone full circle.
But yeah, we're done. I have to go to IKEA.
Yeah.
That was
great. That's an unlimited life, because you're not trapped within your own fucking limitations, because we actually understand ourselves through the Enneagram, spiral dynamics.
I will say, there's one thing that I highly recommend for anyone who wants to change their limiting belief very quickly. It's a form of psychology called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's what like Tony Robbins' team uses a lot. And if you find the right practitioner who can service that for you, and if you're willing to change, like you want to change a belief, a habit, whatever it is, I always say, like, imagine you were like dealing with something or feeling pain or had a trauma, whatever it is, and you just wish, like, I'm sure we've all wished, like, I wish there was an off button for this, I could just turn this off. To me, in my experience, NLP is the closest thing to that I've experienced, because you do this therapy with a practitioner and they have a way of letting you lead the answers you want and rewiring your subconscious as you do it. And I've had like lifelong things just like break off in like 1 hour sessions, because it just goes straight to the subconscious and rewires, and it's so possible. Like, so, and even through that, I've now started implementing myself. Like if I was like in your friend's position where I'm like, I'd have a thought come up or a feeling come up that provokes a thought of like a poor belief. I don't believe that I can do hard things. Then I would go, I now, because I've done a lot of this work, I can now identify that and go, oh wow, that's a bad belief I have. What can I do to change that? I'm going to start having cold showers. And it's almost like I can now do it myself to a degree. Because once you experience it, it makes you fully believe, oh wow, my brain and my subconscious and all my systems can literally be changed. And it's helped me a lot through breakups. It's helped me through like habits. It's helped me with learning new things. And that's another, to me, that's just I just want to touch on that because it's a very practical tool that I use to achieve unlimitedness in my own life. And it doesn't mean I'm like Superman and everything, but and there's always something to work on, but I love it, like NLP. So I would highly recommend anyone to look that up if they are like struggling with changing mindsets or beliefs. Like, it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, I love it.
Have you done it?
Well, we've
heard a lot about it because we're in the Tony Robbins coaching group and they use it. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure even other coaching groups use it too.
Current's people are
sure they all use it.
Well. Yeah.
So it's on our radar. Yeah, we'll look into it.
Even with a one-on-one, coach, practitioner, therapist.
Yeah, I think it would be really powerful for us to actually get trained in it.
Yeah.
That's kind of like something that I've been flirting with for quite some time.
That's great.
It's to like do some work in it and then get trained in it so that we can help our people with it as well.
Yeah, you should. I've got a friend who has done like the master level in it now. A few friends actually, and it's great. Like some of them focus on things like money beliefs, because everyone has a belief around money, and that is one of the main obstacles to achieving your business dreams.
Yep.
Like
Money
believing
story.
how much you're worth, your value. And I heard you guys talk about that yesterday on stage. You were talking about how Owen said your haircuts have not changed over like 8 years. Your value has, and your value has increased, and that's why you can charge and make more than the guy around the corner. And maybe the guy around the corner doesn't believe he's worth more than X amount on a haircut. And I've had to go through all that retailering too, where it's like, actually, I'm worth more than this, and I can say no to things that are below my value. Yeah, it's an important one.
Absolutely. Yeah, love it.
It's been a great chat.
Yeah,
Thanks for
There's
this.
a lot in there. Amazing.
Thanks for joining
you.
us.
Hair slots on 3. 1,
Appreciate
2,
it.
3 hair slots.
The band's two back together.
No, it's a pleasure having you.
Awesome.
Thank
That was
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Great. Great. Where can people find you? Let's tell everyone listen to your music.
So my
Or
artist
get some
name,
music made.
Yeah. So my artist name is Airports. Airports Music on socials. Airports on Spotify, and my business is Sound Moda. soundmoda.com. So you can find us.
Yes, Aaron's done our sounds for the podcast.
Well, we did some audio branding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And for 101 logo.
Yep.
Do we have an unlimited sound yet? I don't think we do.
We might have to.
The beginning of the podcast, I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I think you did that one, yeah.
Did I? Nice. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think you did, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We have a little
Maybe
sound.
we'll find out.
Yeah.
Cut the credits.
No, 100% you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
So this intro sound is you.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it was one of your team, actually.
Not even sure.
It's great regardless.
It was great,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And it was your company, so, I mean,
Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to be here.
Thanks for listening.
First hair model. First
Yeah.
non-industry guest.
It's been a pleasure. It's been
it.
brilliant.
awesome. What would we call the episode? Parallel World.
You'll think of something really deep.
Hair sluts on tour.
Yes.
I like the
Hair
way you
sluts
said hair
worldwide.
sluts do London.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I look at it. I have a guess. You know.
Oh, we got another guest.
Yeah.
Hello, Doug. See you guys. Stay unlimited.